Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk as we look back on the game that we just witnessed and then look ahead to the epic tiebreaker that stands in front of us. But first, gentlemen, the draft. This was some things as expected.
That is not a B. I'm not going to be accepting
Yes,
this.
it is.
That is not a B.
That is not a B. That
It's
is
also not
that
an
is
A.
very
that is
good.
or an
that
E.
is- it is not a tiebreaker.
I was under time pressure, okay? Give me a break.
That's fair. Who gave you whiteboards?
Production made a mistake.
I'm not shocked. This means I really need to step it up and do my job or I may never be invited back. Draft, gentlemen. Weird adaptations. There's a Blitzcrank that I know we were pretty big fans of, but thoughts overall?
Yeah, I want to really talk about RNG's approach because I really loved it. What they did was, Caitlyn, goes without saying, is an incredibly high priority pick. But by banning the Yuumi, which you need to ban on blue side because of the Singed counter pick that is available for Gen.G, which, believe me, it does work into Yuumi. Don't blind it. And then the Nami also taking away the possible Lucien. You actually set yourself up for a matchup in which, in theory, even though it didn't end up quite panning out, you give GALA and Ming the opportunity to have pressure in that lane.
Yeah, and from the RNG side, the one pick that I really loved was GP. GP Ultimate really can work against the Aphelios angle, and on top of that, just the amount of melee options there in Ekton, good lane there, into Trundle. I thought it could do a lot of good. The problem was the draft was focused to the bottom side of the map with the Blitzcrank, and that was not working out.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I am kind of interested in is the priority on Maokai. Because Maokai, I think when we came into groups, everyone saw like the Odo games, and we saw a couple good games. Everyone was like, all right, best champion in the game, right? Everyone needs to be playing Maokai. Maokai is now 5-11 in groups. And I feel like it's been a while since we've seen like a particularly good Maokai game. The best Maokai ults that I can remember recently were stolen Maokai ults from a Sylas. Where it was like, it was the other team getting better Maokai ults, right? And it is feeling like people have established some pretty good answers to it. In this one, the Trundle was an easy answer. But Trundle, even pushing him into kind of a weird build. And we were theorizing, why is he going for Demonic Embrace? Maybe it is because he's playing against a
Phase
Trundle.
Rush as well.
Yeah, Phase Rush as well. You can't necessarily go Aftershock. So this was a very, very squishy build. It didn't really look like you could frontline properly, but you also aren't really a damage threat either. So it was kind of neither here nor there. When you have like a Sejuani or whatever, at least you still have some long-range passive engage, but it just didn't really feel like it served much of a purpose in this.
And I think if you're ahead, then it's fine, because then you can just use your Demonic Embrace and make sure your opponents can never approach. But that wasn't the case.
And perhaps it is a matter of people just figuring out what the Maokai has done. They know how to respect it. They know how to play around it. Of course, best of fives as we look forward may be a bigger factor for the Maokai specifically. But when we look at this game, we talked about early game focus in the draft. It manifested in the game as well. So much action around the bottom side.
Yeah, this was really unfortunate there that he wasn't able to pick this one up. And he was getting bullied throughout this game, in fact. This is what I love about Peanut. You see him in any team that he is in, if he gets an advantage, he will really rally the team to work through his lane, or at least, through his matchup. And so we saw him invading, stealing red from Wei. Wei really didn't have an angle this game.
And even if he does end up getting the blue buff, like PTA Trundle early on is such a menace. And if you get the Trundle head very early on with Peanut Rush, Divine Sunderer, especially with the build that Wei went for in mid-game, he just couldn't really get a whole lot done.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not going to be able to win in any of those duels. And it just felt like Peanut had such a good read on wherever action was going to be. Peanut, throughout the entire early game, was matching everywhere Wei went. They kept the kill on him, invading on the blue buff. He matches him on that earlier gank where they're flashing forward with the Blitzcrank. They've already hard committed. Here comes a Trundle, and now there's no way out. Then again, on another answer, it just felt like RNG were a little bit easy to read with their game plan. Once Ruler got that free first blood, it kind of felt like, all right, well, now we need to help our bot lane. Now we need to get them back in it. So Peanut's only real job in the early game became, okay, all I have to do is protect my bot lane. They're already winning the 2v2. We're going to win the 3v3. And then it kind of felt like all eggs were really in the GP basket, and RNG's options started getting really heavily limited through that mid game.
And credit to Breathe, because ultimately the GP basket would not have felt nearly as good.
It was a good basket.
It was a very good basket. The man made the
there
basket
was some tasty
himself.
cheeses, some nice wines.
Yeah, look, this man made a good basket single-handedly. That's 5-1 KDA. Remember, this is a man who lost the game, and his stats are absolutely out of this world.
And it was also what I think kept RNG in the game for as long as it did, because it was single-handedly, he got the solo kill, got the kill on bot thanks to his ultimate, was still pressuring Doran even though he didn't have that cooldown available, and was such a big pressure point that, as you pointed out already, Raz, for the very short-range composition of Gen.G, could definitely provide to be a problem.
Exactly. And so this gives you at least some confidence going into the next game of Breathe's performance going into Doran. At least, like, there's that one solo kill that he was able to get there, so at least now you can create a better circumstance. But I just feel like now you're starting to see a really difficult Gen.G. Gen.G's looking pretty stacked.
I agree. You know, Gen.G did look pretty good for that game.
Yeah, I mean,
This smug smile. I feel like I feel like you took this man's fictional draft as a personal offense, Zale. And you're like, just not
more
letting
than
it
that,
go.
baby.
It was a little more than that, sadly.
Of course, on top of that, there's some of the highlight final moments in this game. Drake Steele and obviously Gen.G really coming in clutch to end this one. It still felt within touching distance in many moments, but honestly, across the board, Gen.G in these mid-to-late game team fights were just flawless.
Well, and I think one of the other things is GALA's actually just so far behind. You know, even when they were able to create space, you know, less about this fight and more about that final Baron fight, where Tristana's actually free firing for so long. Tristana could never actually get towards IE. You know, actually got pushed back pretty far as the item progression. So they were taking so long to actually punch through this front line that it just felt like even when they made space for GALA, they couldn't do enough with it.
Yeah, and speaking of space, one thing that was really hard for RNG to deal with was not only the Renata ulti, but the Sylas stolen Maokai ulti. There was no angle for you to go in, and one thing you loved, Azale, you know, talking about it in the back room, was the Blitzcrank ulti stolen by Sylas.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of the best offensive ultis I think you can steal. The AP ratio on it is insane. Even at a rank 2 ulti, you know, before you hit 16, it's like a 500-600 damage AoE silence on a very short cooldown, because the Sylas ult, the hijack, you know, scales around your opponent's ulti cooldown. So you can constantly steal away this Blitzcrank ult. It's one of those interactions you don't see a lot because Blitzcrank just doesn't get played in pro, but is incredibly powerful.
And what you see here in this in the breakdown is that you both have the angle for RNG, which is top lane, because Doran struggled a lot. I hope rather we're not going to see them run back towards the Renekton. I do think the Sejuani ban was a really good call as well from RNG. But you also see if you give a single lead to either Ruler or Chovy against Gen.G, like that's such a comfort position for them. And if that ever happens, you saw Peanut as well playing very aggressively to make sure that they maintain that lead.
Well, I'm really interested because obviously like Fiora was banned out here, you know, Aatrox was banned out, so they are trying to target, you know, Breathe somewhat. But I would be curious to see, yes, if Lissandra gets banned again, will they go to something like Galio Jax or something and really heavily commit towards topside and just try to play more to neutralize bot? Because it would be interesting.
And I think ultimately the thing that's going to be the most interesting is side selection here. Of course, Gen.G do have side selection for the tiebreaker game. It came down to win time. Gen.G had the better win time overall. So they selected blue side. So RNG will get the luxury of counterpick on red side. And that's a terrifying prospect, again, in the context of Breathe busting out a Gangplank, which is by no means the S tier of S tier top laner. He becomes truly terrifying if they're giving him that first prio pick in response to something, or if they can save him that counterpick.
Good news is that I just feel like at the beginning of the tournament, I thought there were a lot of options top lane, and it was turning into a top lane meta. But slowly it feels like people can equalize with, I know the Sejuani ban was there, you could talk about it.
Yeah.
But we're even seeing a little bit of Gragas. And on top of that, with blue side, if you get the option, and if it's not banned out, Aatrox is just the most broken champion at the moment. So I feel like anything that you can keep Doran safe on.
Yumi Sivir? With like a word?
Ooh, I like that sound.
Why would you like that?
Actually.
No, never speak those words
He's
again.
speaking my language.
No, we're banning your language.
I do actually think that you already mentioned because of the win time that Gen.G had against RNG was much faster, so they got side selection. I actually think that playing against Gen.G on blue side feels really, really bad because they have such a wide effective champion pool, and it's going to make it way harder to deny things like the Sejuani from Doran. And even though I think Doran is still the angle of attack, if you focus all your attention towards that, I do think you're running the risk of Chovy and or Ruler and Lehends getting leads in the other end of the map.
I mean, it's interesting, right? You know, RNG was on blue side. They're going to be on red side now. Like, do they just run back the same first 3 bans to actually try to shut down Ruler? Obviously, it didn't really accomplish anything in this game. But I think it's fair to say, like, from RNG POV, this wasn't actually about the 2v2 at all. Ruler kind of got a free first blood, you know, on this failed invade. Then, you know, it was all just about counter ganks when you're already in a losing position. So to me, I don't think that RNG's draft strategy or anything was necessarily flawed, right? Like, I think that you could easily look at that and say, salty run back, right? Just do it again. So to me, I'm really interested to see if they are going to stick with that prep and try to focus on Ruler and try to play through bot again too.
It's a good question. Final note, you made predictions earlier.
Yes, I did.
Some of you were embarrassed. Some of you not so much so. We can take a look at those again.
Are we going to look at it again?
It's time. Raz,
Oh, we're doing predictions
we're fresh.
again. Yeah.
I thought we were reviewing, but they're
Oh, I
fresh.
thought we were reviewing as well.
You got a
went
chance
RNG.
for redemption. You went RNG.
Are you flip-flopping? This is
Are
the Raz Classic.
you- are
This is
you
the
gonna
Rad
waffle?
Classic. The problem with the Classic is that when I flip-flop, then I'm wrong. And I don't like being wrong on the flip-flop, and I could have just stayed
Are
the
you
same.
wrong because you're going with your gut here, or are you wrong because you're flip-flopping? You know?
I don't want, this is when you overthink it, so I'm going to stay on the same damn train. It's going to be RNG.
Okay, I got my only prediction wrong because I wrote Raz will waffle.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was
I hear
a
some
really
RNG
good
believers
prediction.
out there.
That felt like a safe bet.
It was like a 90-10.
It felt like a 90-10 to me. All right.
Turning over a new leaf.
RNG. Chronicler, what are you feeling? I mean, come on. Give me,
Oh,
humor me.
why are you asking
It's
me?
like asking people
It's
how they
Gen.G.
feel after a... Yeah, thank you.
Gen.G.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Isaiah, were you convinced? Do you believe?
No, I'm still with Gen.G.
But you don't believe anymore.
I was not convinced by RNG losing when my prediction was
Okay,
Gen.G
there we
winning.
go.
Yeah, but maybe you saw the breathe Gangplank and you're like, that is a man who knows his way around a pirate. Like,
Well, he
very
does.
cohesive.
He does, yeah.
He does.
He's got some skill with those oranges up there. But I mean, I think it's going to be really competitive, even with things going bad in bot lane. This was still a very winnable game for RNG almost the entire way through. They're two incredible teams. I think they're going to be a huge threat in quarters, whether they're first or second. But I do favor Gen.G. I think they're a more complete team, and I think they can play more solidly through the mid and late game, which is kind of the same read I had last game.
And at this point, everything on the line for this first seed. Loser will be second, thought to face so many Titanic teams. We'll find out who comes out on top as we send it back over to Kobe and Atlas for the call.
Thank you so much, Dracos. And here we are, tiebreaker time. See whether Gen.G can make it 2 in a row. So far, in this matchup between these two teams, red side has won every game, and Gen.G have elected to head towards the blue side.
Yeah, overall, blue side has definitely been favored, so very low sample size here.
I like low sample sizes, though.
These two to be drawing conclusions. I'm so excited that we do get a final one because in that last game, there's just a lot of chalk it up to blame the jungler. What the heck? Early invade like that? Oh my goodness, getting the early lead. Now we go again. We go again.
I like it.
Tiebreaker.
There's excuses to be made on both sides as well, because you chalk it up to the jungle going wrong in the last game, the previous matchup. It's like, well, give Ruler a champion that he can do stuff on. The center Singe didn't work out.
Yeah.
Things like this.
True, we had 2 throwaways. This is the real one now.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're hoping that this is the real one, okay?
Also, I might add, in the matchups of these two teams, going 1-1, both times, the team that had Aphelios won the game.
True. Does that mean that in this day that's been full of Lucian Nami just destroying everyone, that secretly Aphelios is actually the best champion?
I think so. Both of them, both these players, again, over 71% win rates on Aphelios. Let's get into the champion select to determine it for the final game of groups.
All right, already got a couple of bans coming in here as the Lissandra and the Fiora taken away from Breathe and Xiaohu. Of course, I think these are two of the most dangerous picks for both of these players to pick up. I do like the respect given, as the Yuumi, of course, having to be banned away. Maokai taken off the board as well, which is interesting. Not wanting to give that one over to Gen.G.
Xiaohu's just been so good on so many different styles of mid lane champions. Carry champions, roaming champions. Could still even pull out the Galio. Lissandra's been permabanned against him for that roaming purpose for those engages. But he also always has that pocket Galio to pull out. I don't think it's a great meta for Galio, though, with how strong Akali, Sylas, and Azir all are.
Speaking of which, the Sylas is going to be picked up here. We have actually seen the Galio banned against Xiaohu so far in this tournament, even if he hasn't necessarily put that many games on it this time around. Of course, Chovy's best play of all time was on Galio, so he's also not a stranger to the champion, as Sejuani being considered very high priority picks getting through the draft here. Caitlyn still up and available, Kobe, as well as Lucian Nami. And there is the Nami to be locked away. So where does Ruler and Lehends go when faced with this Lucian Nami, whose win rate today has been just absurd?
And KDA today has been just absurd due to both of these two AD carries picking it up. And in answer, it looks like we will get the foreseen matchup. Come on, Lockett. Get to 72%.
Well, it will be. Aphelios picked up. There is the Lulu as well in consideration. So, this is a matchup that didn't work into the Lucian Nami, but certainly has in the past.
It certainly has. And there are a lot of AD carries that do like this answer into it. Of course, most of them are using the data from pre-Lulu nerf. But it looks like Ruler and Lehends gonna put it to the test once again into GALA and Ming's Lucien Nami. And now we turn our sights towards some more mid lane bans. They can just throw 2 more bans at Xiaohu here. You know, with the early Sylas pickup for Gen.G, they can just continue to whittle down on the, they can ban out the Akali, make sure you can't do that one again.
Yep, ban out the, do you ban the Azir? Do you ban something like a LeBlanc that Xiaohu has been very good in the past?
I think Sylas into LeBlanc, I would actually be fine if he did that one.
The chain battle?
Yeah, I would. Ooh, they banned the Rise.
This is actually one of Chovy's favorites into the Sylas. Realm Warp doesn't give you as many battle capabilities.
Yeah, this is actually, I almost forgot about Rise because he has so many bad matchups now. But this is one of the good matchups right now with the Crown Seraph's build.
The other one, when you're just talking matchup specific, is the Talia that's been picked a lot into Sylas, giving, like, it's basically anything with a global that doesn't do damage is what they want to take off the board. The Ornn is going to be removed as well here, targeting Doran.
And that has been the punching bag. Breathe versus Doran might be the most lopsided matchup of this whole game. Player to player, and RNG are going to whittle down on some of those safety nets for Doran.
Yeah, I don't know what he's going to be able to go towards next. Of course, his Gragas has been something he's very happy with. But
right
there it is. Gangplank not going to be available. Now what does GALA take away? Of course, Graves kind of sticking out a little bit right now, but that would put Breathe on a tank.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I'm always torn when you have the Sejuani. You're like, okay, well, I already have the tank, but then you also want a melee champ with it to really get the most out of the early ganks. So that's why Viego, again, because Viego with the passive, your autos are so quick, and popping with your Qs, like the stuns just come out so fast with this combo. Always love the Sejuani Viego duo, and they do go with it again. I think they'll probably go with the Akali then once more for Xiaohu and have this diving short-range comp for RNG. Seeing that and knowing it for Gen.G, they lock in for Doran, the Camille.
All right, so he's really bringing it here. You can see a big grin on Lehends' face as well as he locks this one away for his top laner. Galio will be locked. This is what we were talking about. He always has it in his back pocket.
I had an inkling, and the Galio does come out. The Xiaohu Galio, he almost always goes Predator with it, very, very often. And before he even gets an ultimate, he makes this look like a map-wide champion, even pre-6.
The thing that's really dangerous about this, though, is that they've just given Gen.G the Camille Galio combo. Because you hijack the ult away, and now that you just throw that towards the Camille.
The stolen Galio, oh my goodness. And the stolen Galio ult works so well with Vi too.
Yeah.
Stolen Galio ultimate with a Camille and Vi on your team already. Careful, Xiaohu, careful with showing yourself to Chovy early.
This could certainly work very well because, of course, there is a lot of setup for the Galio as far as frontline, and having Viego slink into the mist and then deliver a gargoyle that way is very powerful. But it is certainly something that Gen.G has used in the past to very great effect, and now they have a Sylas on top of it that is much more of that damage threat. A really interesting draft here for both teams, though, and I'm mainly focused on that top side with Camille being picked up for Doran, a far more aggressive pick into Breathe, who has been so good.
So I'm expecting we get some Sejuani with Ignite, you know, have that early kill pressure. You have a Viego on your team, you can always bring a Viego into a Sejuani Ignite lane, kill the Camille early on, and set Breathe up with a power top side.
Well, Xiaohu's actually going to go for the phase rush as well. Not going to be Predator this time around, wanting to be more of a battle gargoyle. As here we are, game 3 between Gen.G and RNG. This is the tiebreaker to see who is going to be the first seed out of Group D.
I was going to say this also probably means he won't roam as much early on, but he went with Flash Ghost on top of the phase rush to really make these roaming taunts catch up to you a lot quicker.
I actually really like that because a lot of what Phase Rush does is once you're already in there, you can run real fast, right? You've hit a lot of spells, you've been able to proc that, and you go really fast around the fight. But getting there is more difficult. Utilizing the Ghost in order to get in means that you're just going to be real fast all the time, no matter what.
Definitely going to have to watch, though, without the teleport here. See how much Chovy can do in lane. Church of Chovy started because of the lane dominance.
It's absolutely true. But can he utilize the stolen Galio ult to full effect? That is going to be my focus as we get closer to the mid game. But now it is certainly the realm of Chovy, which is the laning phase.
Offside start for both junglers. Sejuani leashes are godlike leashes. So Wei's going to be really accelerated here on the Viego. Very quick Sejuani leash. Red buff start for him. Looking towards bottom side. Camille sticks around for a long time too, though. Doran giving a really nice leash to Vi, so Peanut will be keeping up. And the bottom lanes, these AD carries have been such massive carries for their teams in the entire day, basically, worth of games for both of them.
And I'm going to be glued to GALA and Ming just because this Lucien Nami lane has been so good for everyone that's managed to get their hands on them. As Xiaohu gets a taunt off, there's a Justice Punch. He really wants to go toe-to-toe in this early stage, but mainly just trading.
He goes for the full combo, phase rush right back out against Chovy.
All right, holding our breath here to see who is going to draw first blood. As once again, taunt is going to come through there, lands onto Chovy, who tries to dash out of the way. Does not quite manage to mitigate it. But as this is all happening, we've got Peanut taking the Ramble back, actually skipped the Raptors. We'll see where he's going to go after that.
And this is just so nicely played here by Lehends and Ruler. On the early stages where you're guaranteed green red guns there for the opening, they take control of the minion wave against the Lucien Nami, poking him, pushing him in, staying very healthy, getting the harass down.
Winds of War doing a fair bit of damage there. And man, this is actually really exciting in this mid lane with how much trading is going back and forth between Chovy and Xiaohu.
This is what you get with LCK champions versus MSI champions.
Have some backs between the two of them. Of course, this is an opportunity for Chovy to utilize a teleport advantage like you were talking about. Xiaohu could theoretically ghost a lane if he feels like it, but not going to, most likely.
Yep, good crash here for Ruler and Lehends. They get it all the way in, even with Wei full clearing all the way down to bottom side and picking up the scuttle. A little bit ahead of Peanut there with the smooth full clear for himself, but he's on double wards, and here comes Chovy.
Yeah, there's the Vault Breaker being channeled as well. Yep, flash out. Wei is not risking it this time around. He'll get to safety. Breathe, taking a lot of damage here from Doran up towards the top side though, but I'm talking about a top lane matchup, Kobe. It's a mistake.
I mean, honestly, it's the revenge of Doran here with the Camille into Sejuani. Very good early for him, and he's got his CS lead. He's got his top side pressure. Like you mentioned in Champion Select as well, could be a big factor as we get later into the game. We start to see that Camille roaming around, trying to get those picks, working with Chovy.
Yeah. And often you talk about Camille as being sort of this hybrid teamfight and split push type champion. Doran does have a lot of avenues to play this game on Camille once he has access to that Hextech ultimatum, because he can deliver a Sylas into a teamfight if he's able to hijack the heroic entrance.
I also think against the Ignite Sejuani, it's really rough because you have to worry about this kill threat. Viego had just been seen on bottom side, so you're also assuming Viego has reset back to top side of the map. Now I have to give some territory, let him push in, respect the Ignite, respect the possible kill here.
Nice little trade there from Xiaohu, still has full health. And Ming in position. This could be first blood as Peanut's going to come up, see whether he can get it first. Remember, no flashes available. Breathe is going to try and go for the all-in because he knows that he's dead. First blood goes to Peanut. Top of the morning to you, as now RNG will answer with a Drake start.
All right, so first blood for a Cloud Dragon, Atlas. As the Cloud Dragon expert, what's your price on a...
Oh, I think you'd need more than first blood to make up for a Cloud Drake, Kobe, as you know.
Even you, who loves them the most? Okay.
Well, Lehends is just spotting this out. He's on sentry duty as the Lulu. going to find too much here as Ruler has a gigantic wave in front of GALA. Grabs himself a plate for it as well. So RNG give up a plate as well as that first blood, theoretically, for that dragon being picked up. RNG investing in their future. And also denying Gen.G the ability to start stacking up these Drakes if they can find these earlier advantages.
Yeah. Nice little window from Peanut. Securing it, really building Doran back up after that last game. Confidence completely shattered, maybe.
Well, Doran has actually been better at bouncing back from these situations. So good to see him playing with still that confidence that we have seen from him.
Yeah.
Nice little dodge on the Justice Punch, but now Ming and Wei back in position yet again. Control wards have gone down, and Chovy, it's a minion wave to pick up, does manage to secure it. Now, can the taunt land is the question. Chovy really wanted to get a ward in there, but he's not going to be able to. Flashes out, dashes out, and survives.
Nice, quick fingers here from Chovy. He could kind of feel like something was happening there with the little wiggle from Xiaohu. And Wei absorbing level 6 off the minion wave allowed him to go for the attempt at the insta-kill, but it just means a bunch more cooldowns expended. Chovy still lives.
Yeah.
Staying under tower here with the Kingslayer.
Being able to deny a little bit there, but still should be able to pick up the wave. Xiaohu gets a very nice back, and when he doesn't have teleport, you'll feel very good about having that. Lehends lying in wait as Ruler is just taking care of the laning. And the ward goes in. They spot out the Lulu. So
Now, we're going to have a window of jungle difference now, too, with ultimate difference, since Wei used his there at the attempt at Chovy's life.
all right, Culling comes through. Lehends, that is not the back massage that you wanted. And 50% health. Now underneath their turret, no one coming around, but we are seeing the power of this Lucian Nami.
Control ward laid down instantly as Riptail pops up. Breathe, pushes in on the Sejuani. Again, though, we would have an ultimate difference here in junglers. Wei no ultimate. You can buy ult, plus you can have Camille coming in. Don't think they want to make the collapse, though. Look at the bottom lane. Bottom lane call has been made early. Aphelios going to try and push on turret plates, and GALA goes back to try and deny him.
Yep.
Let's see if Ruler can get any money off of it.
What you want to see from Gen.G is to be able to pick up 2 plates in order to answer this. We've been talking about it all week, and he's almost able to get 1.
And I would say, too, with the extra 200 gold added after the durability patch,
Yeah,
probably even need more than that nowadays. Even though the experience is quite nice if you're able to push in the waves, but very smart from RNG. They say, GALA, we don't need you. And they send him back to the tower, so he also is able to pick up minions at the turret at the very least. So nice brute force play from RNG.
You can see Vision being cleared out. Now Wei waiting, looking for an opportunity to take down Doran yet again. Winter's Wrath comes through, not able to use that tactical sweep to get that last minion, and Doran playing with a lot of respect. Has an idea that there could be a Viego in the area. He's going to take the empowered recall, though. So Doran's still going to play with respect, even though there is no one there. There's Breathe. It's like, where did you go?
I was hiding.
He was in the brush the whole time!
Happy to be the carry side of the matchup now, though, of course.
It really is the opposite side of the coin. I guess, you know, you're not really a carry on Renekton, but you're not necessarily a tank either.
Yeah, and if you don't have the jungler to help you dive in the Renekton King-Kong matchup, then it's going to be a little bit painful. I'm really still waiting on the first Galio ultimate, though.
Yeah, I wonder who's going to use it as well.
True. Will it be original flavor or Sylas flavor?
Or extra crispy. Okay, Voltbreaker gets Peanut out of that dragon pit. Next one going to be available in 45 seconds. Xiaohu taking a bit of damage. Peanut. Cease and desist up and ready, but the rest of RNG moving over as GALA has to relentlessly escape. It's an awkward ability name when you're using it defensively, is now Lehends and Ruler not going to walk towards this tri-brush, and a very good idea as well.
Yeah.
Squad was on their way.
You can tell how much caution they're putting in. Don't want to leave that opening to blow this game wide open, because Dragon for the gold lead, and with Rift Herald down here for RNG, they're going to whittle down on that gold lead as well. More money into GALA and Ming.
Yeah. Gale Force is going to be picked up, but this teleport is from Chovy. It's, of course, not Ruler making it back down here to get that money from the minion wave. Does manage to pick up his Everfrost. Gale Force there, and some item spikes for Gen.G. Now being able to take down that turret to an even level with what Gen.G were able to accomplish really does help even things back out again. 1,000 gold means not a whole lot here at this stage of the game. You mentioned that opening, that window to get back in, and we haven't seen it this time as now. Ball breaker comes forward. Doran is so incredibly low, has to flash. The hook shot doesn't get the stun, and the cease and desist is there, and Breathe will be taken down. That was close, though.
Peanut, the difference maker again in the top lane. Jungle power. Doran baits him in, gets low here on the Camille. It's too juicy for Breathe to pass up, and then Peanut comes in, finishes the job for him.
That's 2-0 now for the Vi as well. Peanut pretty accelerated in this game. As this next Drake going to be taken as well as Gen.G not looking too interested in it. And that is going to be the second one. So nice work for RNG answering back with these globals.
And you said the payment on a dragon's got to be more than just a kill. This one wasn't even a first blood kill, so RNG getting the Inferno as well, but Xiaohu's pretty far into lane. Big rush, Ghost.
Yeah, that's a lot of movement speed, but there is a decent amount of CC here as Peanut was trying to pick the flash, but Xiaohu doesn't do it. He's still going to die, though.
We have flashes from Peanut and Lehends and the ultimate coming through. You're not dodging this.
Is that, so that's all of the flashes as well as 2 kills in trade for that Drake. I think RNG are probably still all right.
That wasn't part of the same trade deal, okay?
All right, okay. It's a different deal completely.
Completely different one. Peanut threatening around mid lane here as GALA's trying to exact further payment, though.
Now, this turret falling down prior to 14 minutes means all of those plates will go into the hand of Chovy if he decides to stick around. Not going to, though. Going to respect the fact that RNG were in Fog of War, as we're going to see this one more time.
Yeah, most underwhelming Xiaohu Galio pick I've seen in a long time. They have not gotten anything out of it, and as you pointed out, even might be a negative with Sylas being able to steal it later in the game, so
Yeah,
very, very big
yet,
stuff.
But we're giving it some time, seeing whether Xiaohu can find the angles. As of course, it hasn't really been, like, we haven't found that moment for skirmishes, right? It's been Gen.G skirmishing and RNG saying, well, we'll just take this Drake.
Yeah.
We'll look to try and get towards Soul and see what we can do there. But it's starting to move up towards that 3,000 gold lead, and that is where things begin to get dicey as far as the item advantages that you can pick up on Gen.G's side.
Xiaohu has earned enough respect to say, you can pick Galio whenever you want.
Yep.
But definitely a little bit of doubt brewing here already. We'll see what comes of the dragon stacking, though, as you're talking about. 3 minutes on the next one. As we enter the 14-minute mark and turret plates drop here for both teams. And what is it apparently an LCK match?
Yeah, it is certainly feeling that way. Of course, RNG have in the past had a bit of a
LCK tendency.
Yeah, it's a bit of an LCK tendency. It is a bit of an LCK draft as well, so it's all just, it's becoming that way. We're just handshaking.
Now we're going to get some partying.
Well, surely, will she be taken down first is kind of the question, as Peanut in the river. They have the vision that they were looking for, and here we go. Glacial Prison not going to imprison the Vi right now. As Moonlight Vigil Ruler just taken matters into his own hands. In goes Peanut all the way towards that backline. The Everfrost value is just massive, and here's the Galio finally using that ultimate, but I don't know whether it's exactly what he wants. Doran going to win the fight with Wei, and Xiaohu doesn't make it over with the Blast Cone. RNG do make it out with 3 members alive, but that was not the fight they were looking for.
Oh, no, it was not. On the top of your screen as well, even though Wei got the Rift Herald, Doran soloed him, and Wei failed his flash in the thick part of that topside wall.
Oh, that's gotten so many so far this tournament as well.
Face plant from Wei afterwards.
I think it was plans where there was like 2 in the same day. It's a difficult flash. It certainly is. Certainly in these high-pressure moments, difficult to make that one work. But now Gen.G with a real advantage right now, even if they didn't manage to secure the Rift Herald.
More objectives for RNG, but the gold lead just further increases. And this is a good little attempt to turn from RNG. They try and turn immediately onto Peanut and Chovy, but then even after they've gotten the Herald, Peanut goes super deep here with the Vi. Nami disengage, makes it look good for a while, and you think with the Galio ultimate it's gonna be fine. This is what I was talking about, the 1v1 on the top side. It's the fail flash into the finish on the solo bolo. And of course, the re-engage from Gen.G was better. Chovy stuns him out of the blast cone there.
Yeah, I thought Xiaohu may not have quite gotten to the position and they realized that they had to actually press the button, but no, it was actually the interruption. So, still, fantastic news here for Gen.G fans, but this Rift Herald will be used to take down this outer turret in mid lane. Mid lane control, very, very good for RNG that do want to be able to utilize this Galio and open up the map for themselves. Definitely the best turret to take, but right now we've got the 1-3-1 in full effect for Gen.G.
And they've got to recall immediately if they want to be here for setup. I think maybe with the delay that's coming from Gen.G, I mean, they're going to have to start face checking into RNG vision if they actually want to contest this dragon. Breathe does have teleport, so Sejuani pushing out topside for RNG. Brute force from Gen.G inside though, they're just going to engage.
Yeah, Peanut just running at them. But RNG are just going to make their way out. Peanut taking a bit of damage. He's not quite as tanky as he was last game.
I guess they make the call for RNG. Let's trade topside turret for this dragon. Gen.G brute force it. They save the teleport on Breathe, trade top tower instead. They don't want to risk it here, but it does mean we won't get early soul.
Yeah, and also I think RNG intelligently realizing that they didn't have the item timings. GALA actually needed to go for a reset that was going to be late, and picks up his rapid fire cannon now, but didn't have that available if they wanted to fight for that dragon. So I think it's really smart to just go for what you can get, which is this outer turret on the top side of the map. Identifying that they just don't have the advantage at this point in the game. 2.5k behind, and lost that last team fight. It's, of course, not the end of the world or anything like that. RNG reading that just weren't able to get in position.
Yeah, definitely wise.
All right, in goes Ruler, just gale forcing after GALA, and there's the Moonlight Visual to finish it off. Peanut having to flash Bolt Breaker, gets him out of the Aqua Prison, and now a fight happening off to the side. Breathe now struggling against the true damage here that Doran has available, and Chovy is going to collapse. That's a dead Sejuani. And now Lehends just looking to keep them here. The Glitterlance comes forward. There it is from Doran, diving on in. He has the Wild Growth to get the triple knock up, and he's been taking the turret for 16 years. Now gets out from underneath, and Gen.G just eradicate RNG.
Gen.G supremacy here on the day, absolutely blasting RNG. They're gonna run through that mid turret as well. Huge, huge picks. I cannot believe Peanut survived the deepest dive in between the turrets though. Got the kill, flashes out, and lives to tail the tail.
The crazy thing for me was the fact that Ruler looked like he was the one playing Lucien. Just gale forcing as if it's relentless pursuit.
I'm telling you, Aphelios has won every single matchup here between these two teams. Looks like Ruler's on pace to increase that win rate yet again. And it all starts out with a bubble here onto Peanut, and Ruler says, not my jungler, goes in to punish him. Immediately there with the purple gun, Peanut follows it, and the ultimate sniping him for the extra damage. Then the flash into Q immediately dodges the bubble to get away, and they're not done there as Doran goes to chase down Breathe. Open up an early health lead on him, and Chovy completes the collapse here. Then it's Lehends, the Glitterlance slow, opens up the ult. Oh my goodness, Doran beautiful there to be able to get the flash into stun ultimate and pull him right back.
It feels like the spectator wasn't fast enough for what was happening half the time there. And that's a very happy Peanut. And Ruler also just having a really good time. Great to see grins on these players' faces.
Yeah, Gen.G on fire today.
Oh yeah. And remember, it was Ruler that was able to win Worlds, but was never able to win a domestic title. Managed to do that. Peanut, of course, has been able to win domestic titles in the past, and now it's up to Ruler to get a World Championship victory for Peanut, for Chovy as well, who everyone's been talking about for so long, but only just got his first title this year.
So much hype behind this Gen.G team coming in, and deservedly so. On the international stage now, really showing what they can do. Thinking back to the last one as well. See about this takeover of the red quadrant and jungle, though. Here they go.
Yep, Ming's going to get discovered here as Doran a little bit far ahead of his team, but my goodness, the damage onto Xiaohu. Has to back away under that turret. They're not done yet, though, as Tidal Wave is going to interrupt the Vault Breaker, but now Xiaohu's going to be left by himself. Chains are going to land, and that's Chovy picking up yet another kill. The shields are massive as well at the same time here as Gen.G take the turret and move out.
Yeah, they've got that timer for Breeze teleport down pat. They make this play with a good 30 seconds left on the teleport cooldown. Breeze showing bottom, can't get there. They just run straight at him. Gen.G, the juggernaut continues. They start up the Baron. They're looking for the turn here. Chovy has stolen Galio ultimate. 5v4. Xiaohu, upon revival, will have one for RNG, but they don't have the precious seconds.
Yep, the Hextech entrance possible here as Doran can dive on in anytime. He's now just playing bodyguard. Decent amount of CCs. He does have to get out of there. The permafrost's going to be available. Wait, diving on in. He is going to get taken down, though, and no more smite is going to be in that pit. They dash on over, but it's just not enough. And there's the heroic entrance, this time from Chovy. It's repeated as Xiaohu tries to show him who's boss, but it's not enough. And the gold lead is just too big. The item lead, too big. A double kill for Ruler. And Doran will be able to nail the stun. And they'll get the ace and the Baron.
The LCK champs make quick work of RNG, not losing a single player on that Baron turn. That was way too early for the RNG jungler. Xiaohu had just gotten up, couldn't get close enough for the Galio ultimate. Gen.G again. These Baron turns for them. They stop DPS, they kill the jungler, they get the Baron, they get the dragon. They get everything.
Yeah, and it's now an 11,000 gold lead or thereabouts for Gen.G. That dragon stacking that had stopped just a little while before is going to be evened out here as Gen.G pick up their second Hex Drake. Oh man, this is certainly an RNG that are on the ropes. They have been able to stall out games in the past, but this is one of those times where Gen.G have a composition that closes out games very effectively with the fact that you can just force engages with Hextech Ultimatum and Heroic Entrance if Chovy can steal that away.
Yeah. Man. Xiaohu Galio, not the showing you would expect here. Gen.G just demolishing it all across the map. Peanut, early gank towards top side, getting Doran ahead on this Camille. Now they're coming to end it.
Well, they just dive on in. So much hard engage, and that is the Lucien dead. Now Peanut trying to tank this one up, has to get out of there, and he'll survive. Oh my goodness, breathe now. The tank in the backline. Xiaohu just trying to tidy it up, but Doran is just gigantic. And the Galio will be taken down. That is Chovy with another one as this Sylas has decimated RNG. It's another ace, and Gen.G will be the first seed coming out of Group D.
Huge stuff from Gen.G. The LCK champs on top again.
What a performance today. RNG were able to do it the first time of asking, but then in back-to-back games, Gen.G will claim the first place in the group.
And this one was not close. Doran, Chovy, Ruler all go without a single death. Only 2 kills for RNG there, 20-2.
Only able to kill Peanut this time around. But still, RNG going to be a force to be reckoned with in the knockout stage. And now 3 seeds from the LCK in first. And one Damwon Kia in that second seed position. And our knockouts teams have been locked for a while, but now we're not going to have the LCK kill on one side of the bracket. That is confirmed.
You've got some good teams over there, Atlas. Let me tell you that. I've been around for a while, and I remember the days of the pure LCK dominance. The revival looking good.
Well, we said that last year, and it didn't quite work out. So certainly some dark horses, but Gen.G looking very dominant. I think JDG certainly also looking extraordinarily powerful. So if I was an LPL fan, I wouldn't, count yourself out just yet.
excited for this group, you know,
Oh,
to come out immediately afterwards as well. We'll line up our interview and get right into that so we can see about the next stages. But look at this game. Doran!
That's a bounce back. That is a bounce back if ever we've seen one. And if you had have asked me, maybe in like the middle of the year, I probably would have said that Doran, not the player to be expected to do something like this, and now does it on the international stage in a tiebreaker to get them the first seed.
And of course, it was Peanut who got up there on the Vi early. Boom, first blood money. Boom, another kill. Really nice stuff from him. Going for these engages super deep under tower and getting them as well. Just completely enabling Gen.G all year long since this roster is so stacked.
Yeah,
You've got some of the best carries in the history of League of Legends in Chovy and Ruler. And he's able to enable them so well. Again, on the Aphelios there, Ruler again, doing so much work for this team from the back lines. Definitely going to be scary as we move forward.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried about too many chefs in the kitchen. That hasn't worked out every single time, but it's working out here for Gen.G. But engaging online is a part of all of our lives, and Riot Games is partnering with IDEO to redefine what healthy online spaces can look like through the Designing for Digital Thriving Challenge. Now through November 1st, we're asking fans worldwide to submit your innovations, designs, or ideas that help build healthy online communities. And winning submissions can take home anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000. Check out IDEO.com for more info while we wait for an interview with our now first seed Gen.G.
It's going to be more info in the interview as well.
Exactly.
I'm excited to hear it.
Info, I think our info view is actually ready, so we'll be heading to the quarterfinals draw show a little later on. But before that, we break down the day at Worlds. Cool down, we're joining Law and Doran for our Verizon post-game interview.
And we're back on the main stage for the Verizon post-game interview. I'm joined by Doran here. Thank you so much for joining me. 안녕하세요. Jason, thanks for joining me again. Let's talk about these last two games. Back-to-back RNG, back-to-back stomping RNG. Tell me about the approach here and the turnover and adaptation between the two games.
우선은 승리 정말 축하드립니다. RNG와 2연전을 하셨는데요. 두 판 모두 정말 깔끔하게 압승을 거두셨습니다. 두 판을 플레이하시면서 조금 다른 식으로 접근한 부분이 있을까요?
일단 다 똑같은 마음으로 했는데 1세트 때 좀 사고가 나가지고 어쩔 수 없다 생각하고 그래도 2세트 두 번째 경기 다시 더 집중했던 것 같습니다.
So it was pretty much the same, the same mindset, but I think we had a little bit of an accident in the first one, so we just wanted to focus up for the second one.
But talking about the first game you played against RNG, actually didn't go super well. And when I was talking to Peanut earlier today, he told me that you understood so much more about the meta and how to draft over the course of group stage. Would you say that you played as a first seed from the LCK here?
이제 오늘 앞선 경기 피너 선수 인터뷰에서는 사실 RNG와 첫 경기에 대해서 여쭤봤을 때 우리가 메타 해석이라든지 이런 부분이 조금 아쉬웠다라고 했는데 오늘은 굉장히 좋은 모습이 나왔어요. 오늘은 좀 LCK 1시드다운 그런 활약이 나온 것 같나요?
일단 RNG와의 첫 경기 때는 저희가 아직 폼이 좀 덜 올라왔던 것도 같고 이제 메타 적응을 제대로 못했던 것 같은데 오늘 경기에서는 좀 훨씬 더 나은 경기력 보여준 것 같아서 만족스럽습니다.
In the first game against RNG, I think our form was not on point and also our, meta read, but this time around, I think we stepped up so much.
Yeah, ramping up as it is expected, and I think best of one is not always easy when you play best of three all year. But talking about the competition at Worlds, I think it's fair to say that you and JDG, Top Esports also were the favorites coming up to the tournament. What do you make of the favorites now that the group stage is over?
이제 월즈가 시작되기 전에 또 많은 분들이 좀 우승 후보로 꼽는 팀들이 있었잖아요. 이제 그룹 스테이지가 다 치러졌는데 지금 우승 후보 어디로 보고 계신가요?
저는 이제 젠지라고 생각합니다.
Gen.G, obviously.
Of course, as it is expected, and now you end your group in the top position. So let's talk about the potential opponents you would be facing here. EDG, Damwon, Rogue. What's your choice here?
이제 8강에 가능한 대진들을 놓고 보면 EDG, 담원, 로그 정도가 있는데 의견 어떠신가요?
저는 이제 좀 그냥 누굴 만나든 결국 다 이겨야 하는 상대라 생각해서 그렇게 신경 쓰이지 않습니다.
I don't pay too much attention to my opponents because we have to beat them anyways, whoever it is.
Mentality of a winner for sure. Wow. Doran, 인터뷰 감사합니다. Thank you so much for joining me today. Ji-sun, again, amazing translation. And back to you guys in cool down.
Welcome back to State Farm Analyst Desk for Worlds Cooldown. Thank you so much, Laura, for that fantastic interview. That's a very happy tiger, in case
By
you
our
can't tell
powers
what that is.
combined,
We did it
have
together.
drawn an average time.
Yeah, look at you guys. You can draw
average.
2 tiger, or you can draw a tiger together. You can predict the correct
Yep.
team. What can't you do? Brass, I'm sorry.
We're back to flip-flopping. The
I don't
chapter
know.
was short.
That's the lesson. That's the takeaway.
that's the
Always
That's the
flip
takeaway.
flop.
Always
I think
flip-flop,
the real
Brass.
takeaway is that just no matter what you predict, it's going to be wrong.
Well, insult to injury, sadly for you, my dear friend, and for RNG, was that it was a very, very wrong. Gen.G getting
Extremely wrong,
the
yeah.
fastest tiebreaker game
Incredibly
in
wrong.
World's
Super
history. This was ludicrously one-sided from start to finish.
And I gotta talk about Peanut. To me, he was the big difference maker. Peanut, in the past, has had his difficulties in international tournaments, even when coming in with a great amount of expectation. And I think over the course of these last 2 weeks, we've already seen him kind of get back to the form that he was in domestically.
Yeah, and we also saw here a lot of focus on towards the Sylas lane. They tried to kill him early. I felt like the Galio was a bit of an int pick there. Sylas would just steal his ulti and then hover towards the top side, and even though he wouldn't be using it, that would just signify for Sejuani to just get the hell out of there.
Well, and to me, it kind of just felt like once Viego's falling behind, like once Peanut's having this good of a game,
Yeah.
once your bot lane is getting pushed in, who are you supposed to ult, right? Like, are you supposed to ult the Sejuani who's losing the Camille? Like, all the lanes started collapsing so fast, so it just felt like the options were very limited for the Galio. And Xiaohu did try to go for a kind of a different setup here. He's phase rush, he's ghost flash, he went for the Night Harvester. I couldn't really find any windows, I think, to just kind of make the big plays, and Gen.G just crushed them across the map.
And seeing Doran go from having a really rough game, getting solo killed by the or in the Renekton Gangplank matchup, and then playing a game like that on Camille is super impressive, and it's really become kind of a hallmark for him as a player.
Yeah, I think the massive change in performance of Game 1 to Game 2 is just, it's a good thing to watch. It's excellent to be able to say, especially as you look ahead towards best of 5, where you're going to need to be able to pivot your picks, the way that you play, depending on what the team needs. Very good look for Gen.G as a whole.
Yeah, and you heard it on the stage talking about the growth for Gen.G, talking about the meta reads and all that. Whoop, like that. And we got the word that this is the fastest tiebreaker in World's history. Like, that is kind of crazy how much Gen.G just stomped them. Oh, I mean, there's too many squiggles on that. I think it was more of a flat whoop.
Yeah, LCK fans with the diamond hands here. I mean, ultimately,
They won 3 out of 4 of the groups.
Yeah.
Right?
it's a good look. And if we can take a look at the group stage overall, we can talk a little bit about upcoming potential quarterfinals matchups. But this was absolute LCK and LPL dominance, no doubt in my mind. But I think also LCK does deserve that special shout out. Only JDG able to top their group.
Absolutely, but I mean, traditionally it has been LCK that has been superior in the BO1s. You know, in the group stage, LCK almost always seems to be doing better than the LPL. You know, LPL, unfortunately for RNG, still never having that undefeated group stage. No team in LPL history has been able to do that just yet, but they always seem to really pick it up in the best of 5s. They seem to have a really good understanding of the changes that they need to make to actually approach some of these matchups against the top LCK teams. And I think it's just going to be so incredibly interesting to see the adaptations between groups and quarterfinals, because there's now so much information, and it felt like even within the individual groups, there was different metas. So you have to really have a read on, like, all right, not just which was the group stage meta correct, which group in the group stage had the correct read on the meta, and how do you really attack these individual teams? So I'm just so interested to see that development.
Absolutely. I think the other thing that we have to talk about is kind of some of the surprises that came out. Because I think for the most part, the teams that have exited, regardless of first or second seed, went as expected. But to me, the big standout, not in Group D, top esports. I was ready, gentlemen, at the start of this tournament for absolute LCK, LPL, top 8 undenied. Rogue was barely able to slip in there at the end. And now as we look ahead towards the group draw, I think every EU fan out there is just wondering, what is the best possible draw? How do we survive? And that's where I turn to you, gentlemen, and especially you, Raz, because you just need to tell me who will beat them, and then I know that they will lose.
There we go.
Based on your
I think I have a lot of power here.
Raz is like, wow, with these hands.
Whoa. It's
Who's it gonna be?
I don't know. I'm not saying anything. You're not putting
T1.
it on me.
It's got to be T1. You're hoping for T1. I think they're incredibly strong. I don't think there is an easy first seed by any means. I think that they're all going to be incredibly hard for Rogue. But I do think of the ones that are there, T1 is the one that you maybe feel is the most approachable in current form.
Yeah, I'd actually agree. More so because of how, well, yeah, more so of how, like, JDG, to me, is still looking like the front runner for tournament favorite, even though, as you pointed out earlier, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Well,
welcome.
I like to hear
You're
the
my crystal
side
ball
of you.
pick. I didn't know you were an LPL enthusiast.
This is so good. I feel like you can never say anything remotely
I will always
without someone turning it into you, like selling out your reason.
But it's okay.
You
it's
can't
okay.
say anything until like, twist the words.
Exactly. Everyone knows
Misinterpreted
that when it
intentionally.
comes down to it, I will always side with the LCK teams. But what I do think is remarkable is that, as you pointed out, between Gen.G, JDG, and T1, to me, T1 is the only one, even with how extremely dominant their wins have been, that in losses also looked like there was no comeback potential. For both Gen.G and the AG, I'm like, it doesn't matter which league Rogue gets. Good luck. Like, I don't know how much you need to actually get it done. And I think T1 is really the only team. But then you look at their wins and you're like, well, we could also get 3-0'd in like 60 minutes. You know, it's like you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, and there's going to be there's a big chance for, once again, interregional kill. Like, JDG are looking at either EDG or RNG. The one option that they have is, of course, Rogue. But, like, that's going to be a lot of fun for, everyone else. I think the LPL region, the fans are tired of these type of situations.
I mean, I think everyone is, right? Like, even as someone who's not from LCK LPL, I come to Worlds, I want to see inter-regional play, right? Because it can be really exciting to have those rematches from playoffs. But to me, it's much more interesting to see the clash of styles and see these matchups that I haven't gotten to see before. So, I mean, that's what I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for more, LCK versus LPL. I know all the first seeds, let's be honest, are going to be hoping that they draw Rogue. That is going to be, because they had a bad week 2, it doesn't mean that they can't fix some of their problems and perform more like they did in week 1, but because they had such a bad week 2, people are going to be hoping to draw them. And I think the number 2 seeds are largely going to be hoping to draw DRX.
Agreed.
I think that's kind of the like dream draws. But all the teams are obviously at an incredibly high level. I think Worlds just looks so hard this year, and I don't think any team is unbeatable.
And we are just a minute away from the group draw. We'll send you over there as soon as we're ready. But in the meantime, it is a testament to how stacked this tournament is. When you look at T1, when you look at guys like Zeus, and you're like, oh yeah, that's your best bet.
Yeah.
What? Like, that feels bad in my mouth. That doesn't feel good to say.
Yeah. And what to me is the coolest thing is that normally we have teams, especially in the LPL, that have a very strong identity. And during quarters and the end of groups, we get to kind of get a feel for the meta. But because the meta right now is still so up in the air, we have all these teams with very different styles, and we still don't know who's going to be the best.
This was fun because this is the Worlds where you're seeing 4 seeds from LCK and LPL going through, and so it might be the highest level of play in the quarterfinals. So it's going to be fun to see regardless.
Yeah, let's see what the matchups are going to look like. Let's join Shox on stage as we draw the 8 remaining contenders at Worlds 2022 into the quarterfinal bracket.
Good luck.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hulu Theater here in New York as we get ready for the quarterfinal draw show. I am really happy to have had the show here the last couple of weeks. The crowd has been awesome, and so is my co-host for this.
Aww.
And the person who will actually be doing the draw, David Freak.
That's true. Can't wait to draw some NA teams into the quarterfinals.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
It's not going to be the case.
It's okay. We're all fine. We're still here.
But it's been awesome here, hasn't it? And we, of course, will still be here for the quarterfinals.
Yeah, it's going to be great. You guys have been amazing so far, by the way. Incredible. Thank you all so much. And we're going to do it again next weekend. It's going to be great.
Yes.
Thank you.
But we need our matchup. So before we get into the draw, first the rules. The first place team qualifying from each group will be placed against the second place team from a different group. Now, crucial is that in order to prevent same group matchups from occurring until the finals, teams qualifying from the same group must begin on opposite sides of the bracket. So it may be that you hear that it is an invalid draw. That means we will just have a team jump to the next possible option. I think that's pretty clear. The pool 1 should be pretty easy to do.
So it's going to be in order. It's going to be
go
great.
ahead, pool 1.
All right, here we go. We're spinning them around.
Ooh.
All right. It's a really big deal who's in the top left of the bracket. It means so much. Get ready to cheer. All right, here we go. You ready? Are you ready? It's JDG. Let's go.
JDG. You can keep drawing. JDG, of course, first seed from the LPL, have been very impressive and going to be a formidable opponent for whoever draws them in the first final.
So I don't know if this is same side or opposite side of the bracket, but our second
next up,
winning. Interesting.
T1,
T1.
same side. Same
side, by the way.
Bracket.
So maybe a JDG T1 semi. That was good. I'm graceful. All right.
Next up,
opposite side. This is nearly irrelevant. All right, here we go.
You're doing great.
All right, just guess who it is. You're wrong, it's Gen.G. Here we go.
Gen.G. Going to the other side of the bracket. And then if everything is going correctly, of course,
all right,
we should get the
pop quiz. Who's the fourth team? You're right, it's
DRX. Awesome. Thank
go.
you so much. So now we at least have a little bit of an inclination as to what we may see for a semifinal. But just as a reminder, in order to prevent teams from the same group meeting until the finals, teams qualifying from the same group must be on opposite sides of the bracket. We're going to switch Xiaohu because you, of course, need pool 2. And this is where it gets super interesting. You're going to kick us off?
So
don't draw yet.
We're chilling. All right,
Draw.
I've been told. All right, this is likely JDG's opponent. The chancer for Rogue.
That's impossible. They
So
move
they're going
to the
other
other
side of the
bracket,
'cause,
and will face Gen.G
group.
since they cannot end up versus JDG. So an LCK versus LCK matchup, Gen.G, Damwon Kia.
All right,
Next one.
here we go. Try again. It's Rogue!
Rogue up versus JDG.
Yep.
Which, as far as I remember, is teams that met actually in the group stage last year, now going up in a best of 5. Go ahead.
Okay. Yep. There we go.
RNG against
RNG,
T1.
let's go.
Valid draw. What a side of the bracket, I have to say. And up for the
All
last
right,
pick.
pop quiz, everyone. You got it right last time. Who's it gonna be?
EDG. Valid against DRX. So, I wrote them down. We're gonna get the graphic in just a second. First off, it was in the stars that Rogue was drawing.
Oh, we got some really fun quarterfinals, actually.
What do you think about kind of the halves that we're seeing here? If you can read it, I got.
Oh, that is so hard to see from over here. Oh, thank you. That helps a lot. I mean, T1 RNG is just like, you have to have it, and I'm glad we get it. I mean, it's going to be sad only one makes it through. JDG, I mean, it'd be hilarious if Rogue blue shells them. That would be very hilarious.
They are
that'd be fun.
blue team, so in their branding, so so awesome. What a fantastic bracket we have for the rest of our World Championship. Thank you so much. We're going to kick it back over to World Cooldown.
Thank you.
Fantastic for some, perhaps.
I'm sorry.
But not for Europe.
What? I got 3 teams in the same side. You know,
you have 4 teams overall. Stop speaking, Chronicler.
You're always going to have that.
You exist in a bubble of privilege. You are living your best life no matter the result.
Okay, so I will give you. It's sad to see Gen.G versus Dom1 in the first round, but the rest of the matchups are all really, really good, and the potential semifinals, I think, are absolute bangers here. We have some really, really fun matchups.
Yeah, the Gen.G Dom1 reminds me of KTIG in such a, being such a ridiculous quarterfinals. It just reminds me of that because it's such an insane quarterfinals. The one that seems like the biggest coin flip is DRX EDG, with how well DRX looked like.
But
how well EDG looked like.
That's my favorite, because the superficial surface level analysis for both these teams coming in was EDG is the LCK-esque LPL team, and DRX is the LPL-esque LCK team.
And you know what this means, Chronicler?
No.
It's the alpaca versus Mako.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes. What did you think I was going to say?
Well, I thought you were going to call them. It's another LPL face.
Oh, yeah,
because you're going to call out
LPL
DRX the 5th LPL seed, which
I just
they're
didn't want
not.
to point out the obvious.
Well, no, that versus Mako is actually amazing. And actually, I feel a little better, so thank you, Raz, for pointing that out. That helps a lot.
The question is, and the compatriot duo is who got the upgrade, and I'm leaning towards Mako. I think Mako got the upgrade, guys. I think
Viper is not bad
Viper
at League of Legends.
Viper's
kind of sick.
Pretty good, some would say. Some would go so
But
far.
is he as good at gacha games as Barrel? I don't think so. I don't think so.
I will say the one thing that we haven't touched on that the historians are just like foaming at the mouth is T1 versus RNG. Just like that is just the oldest rivalry, it feels like, in League. Season 3, I believe, World's Finals.
Starhorn Royal Club.
So, yeah, exactly. So that one has a lot playing to it that people will love.
I mean, absolutely. Like that matchup, I think, is going to be the most exciting one probably for me, personally, for quarterfinals. I think that is incredible potential to be so good with how well these two teams are playing. FLICKR versus Xiaohu, I think, is always a treat. There's so much history between these two players and also potential semis on that side. I'm sorry to Rogue, pour one out. He got probably the worst draw he could get. I mean, at least JDG is my pick to win Worlds, so I am going to assume, JDG is massive favorites. But potential semifinals there, also really good. Yes, of course, there's going to be a decent chance for region kills in semifinals, but guess what? That's what happens when the entire bracket is LPL and LCK. Some of them will meet in the semis, so you can't complain about the semifinal ones.
Chronicle,
I won't.
Yeah, I was going to say, Chronicle, you look like you want to complain about the semifinal.
No, I think Azil's right.
True. He's holding it.
Sometimes you're just wrong.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, that just happens.
Back off.
So T1 RNG, besides the historian region as well, even this year we saw how good of a series it was between them for the finals of MSI. Went to 5 games, incredibly back and forth. So yeah, I given it some time, I'm very sad I'm going to have to sacrifice 2 of my tournament favorites. But then again, as you rightly pointed out, Azil, I shouldn't complain. Because we got 4 teams.
You lose 2, you still have 2. How many does North America have in there?
I don't want to answer.
Yeah,
You
want to
answer
waiting for the answer?
I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. Why are you putting me on the spot?
While we're waiting,
they're having a fist fight. While we wait for Mao to come to terms with reality here, what do you got for us?
I just keep looking at the Gen.G DK matchup, and it's like Showmaker versus Chovy, Ruler versus Def. No, I mean not Def.
I also want to highlight that. In terms of matching Gen.G, Doran Kia actually was the only team that came close, right? Like, we had every single best of 5 between Gen.G and Doran Kia has been insane. Spring playoffs, Atlas lost his hair because Doran Kia wasn't able to close out with a 10K gold lead. And even in the last summer playoffs, when Gen.G looked unbeatable, it was only Doran that actually was able to stand up to him and bring him to a game 5.
Well, and it feels like the meta is gotten even better for Doran. Right? So I think that you could see maybe an even closer matchup there. It feels like Graves' priority through the absolute roof in that one. Peanut is spamming it. You already know Candy wants to play it. And these teams do know each other really well, so prep is going to be so incredibly important.
There's going to be a few teams that are just going to be playing against them at a JDG, although, talking about how strong they are. They're a team that will primarily play through jungle, top lane. They're actively, I know a lot of people are talking about meta reads and changing towards what seems to be strong towards the bot lane. They're going to be a team that's going to be playing against that. And I feel like if they continue to be successful, how many teams that are going to change their strategy when they go up against them?
You know what this also means?
What?
If everything goes right, we get Zeus versus 369.
If everything goes right.
I
think RNG fans may have
obviously,
something to say about that.
for me, right? But like the fact that it's a possibility.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we get our fantasy top laners playing off against each other round 1.
How are you feeling?
Hey, my fantasy top laners.
Yeah, he is.
Look, you believed in Odo. You believed in Odo, and that makes you my favorite.
Thank you.
Good job.
I appreciate you.
I don't know if your faith is well placed. We'll find that out. But of course, while it's a moment of celebration for 8 teams, we could look ahead for them. They qualified for quarterfinals. Unfortunately, we now have to say goodbye to 8 others. And Under Thieves FBI shared some parting thoughts with Lore in our Verizon post-game interview. So check it out.
Welcome back to BSI for the Verizon post-game interview. Joining me right now is FBI. Thank you for joining me. I'm sorry things didn't work out the way you expected them to today, but tell me about coming in today, the first game, the expectations you had, and what didn't work as planned, maybe.
Yeah, I think coming today, we all knew that we were in a pretty tough position in the group, and I think the general mindset we had was to just play each game as it comes and to try to do well, because I think this Worlds has been very disappointing for us, and I think just for NA as a whole. So that was kind of the mindset we had coming in.
It's sad indeed, but I don't think it was an easy group also to be in with Gen.G, first seed in the LCK, RNG, who were ramping up through the playing stage. What did you think of the group when you were slotted into this one, and the expectations you had back then maybe of the results you could have?
Yeah, I think for this World specifically, for all the Western teams, all the groups are very hard. So we can't say that this group was harder than Group A, B, or C. I think the difficulty was just the gap was kind of enormous, I would say, for this World. And Gen.G and RNG and Oyster too, they're all very strong teams. And especially with Gen.G, the bot differential was a bit disgusting. So take some lessons from the games and move on.
It's about making progress, and it's about experience, but we'll touch on that a bit later. I'm happy about what you said though, because it's been so difficult for us, Europeans and Americans, here in this World Championship, and I do also think the gap is bigger than ever. What's your take on that, and I don't know, maybe a solution for the West?
I'm honestly not too sure. I think on an individual level for myself, I think I've played a much worse year than I played last year. Well, last year I didn't feel like such an enormous difference between our skill levels, but I feel like this Worlds, especially games at Gen.G, they were just extremely hard. So I'm not too sure.
And it has been a difficult year with 100 Thieves in maintaining performance, I want to say. So I think you had a nice run qualifying to Worlds and making it so far, and this was your second World Championship FBI. How much stronger do you feel this year compared to last year, and the learnings you take from playing bot lanes such as GALA and Ming or Lulu and Lehends?
Yeah, there's a lot to learn, I would say, from playing these bot lanes. And in terms of last year's Worlds to this year's Worlds, I think on an individual level, performing a lot worse, and it's pretty sad because I think my teammates played very well during the tournament, and it just kind of sucks to be playing so poorly.
Well, you're a very dedicated and perfectionist player. I have no doubt you will bounce back. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer these questions today. I wish you a wonderful off-season, and I'll see you at Worlds next year, stronger.
Thank you.
Back to you, Shox.
Well, I'm going to be honest, that's a bit awkward because I'm definitely not Shox.
But Shox at home.
True.
Guys, come on. You can't. I'm here for one day and you're just going to. It's not even cyberbullying. It's real bullying. Real bullying. Okay, yeah, fair. Okay, maybe I earned it.
Yeah,
okay,
you did.
We hurt the ones we love.
That's true. That seems not healthy. Anyway,
it's
FBI, I think, honestly, really wholehearted, really full, really honest answers, and I think it's great that even in a loser's interview he was able to speak so candidly and speak so openly about what was a very difficult tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I have so much respect for FBI as a player and as a person. I love his interviews. You know, I think you get some really fun interviews when you get Closer and Abadaga, but when you hear from FBI from 100 Thieves, it's no bullshit. It's his real feelings about it. He's going to give you insightful answers into how he feels about the game, how he feels about the meta, how he feels about everything. And you know, it's not easy to give an answer like that, right? Where he's being so self-critical and he's saying, hey, it's like it's kind of on me, you know, big bot lane gap in this event, and I have a lot of respect for that, being able to step up and kind of take responsibility for that and try to learn and grow from that. And I'm confident that he will, because he's shown some incredible games over the years. You know, they were very close to actually taking down RNG here today, which would have been their first loss at the event.
Yeah.
You know, they've showed that they can compete when they're playing at their best, and hopefully for him, he can regroup and come back and be even stronger in NA last year or next year. Because when you look back to last year, they were really the strongest duo in NA, you know, and I do think they had a little bit of regression, but hopefully they can learn from this and try to get stronger.
And it's something that we have to look forward to. But as much as I'm sad to say goodbye to FBI 100 Thieves, there's one NA member who I am not at all sad to say goodbye to. Stupid.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Boys.
Hey, calm down. What are you
Look,
going
we got to
for?
update the score.
That is an American treasure.
No, it is not. It is a overpriced lawn ornament.
It's a
You don't know the price of that lawn ornament.
I'm not 100% sure.
It could have been a bargain.
But based, we're 5-3, gentlemen? 5-3?
5-3, yeah.
All right,
I've stopped
4.
counting a long time ago.
I didn't. I kept the count.
Hold
Five.
up. Isn't
Wait,
isn't
it's
something
a
going
side.
wrong?
Hey,
Side.
You
What are you
lost.
doing?
Hey!
He's
You
cheating.
lost. Give it to us. It's all we have.
It's the only record
you.
that they can claim.
I appreciate that.
And he would take it away from them.
I know, right?
How dare you?
You're listening to the real
guys,
European
You're
here.
defacing the eagle. while writing slander and lies
Okay, I do need
upon
them
its
to let me
noble
back into the
brow.
country when I want to come see my mom. So don't say that I'm slandering the country. I can't afford. That's a bit too much for me. Raz, hold the eagle.
Okay, all right. I'm running with it.
Oh, God, put it.
Goodbye.
Save that eagle, Raz. Get it.
Don't say. Put him in the box, Raz.
Put him in the box.
Put him in the box.
Raz, don't run off of the eagle.
If
Come
someone's
on.
going to put it in the box, you're going to do it.
Hold on, I gotta get the copium in there too. We're not gonna do that either. Here we go.
Well, hey.
Wait, don't you
might
need that
yeah,
for
you might need that
JDG?
for the quarters, man.
I think that ship has sailed.
Take it
boys.
out.
Okay, but copium will stay.
Okay.
All right, fine. Eagle goes. Goodbye, Jojo.
What are you doing?
Jojo has to go, Raz. I'm sorry. I want to tell you
It was a good run.
that we count as representatives of North America, Raz, but we don't.
From Los Angeles to New
Goodbye,
York.
Jojo.
Have to pay respects, Jojo.
No!
Wait, he tore the wings off this thing. I'm not proud of it. You're
Why
a
would you do
monster.
that? He's hurt enough. He's had such a journey.
Goodbye, North American Eagle.
I will say, Trevor treated them much better than you did.
That's true. He did. I can't say anything other than that. But it was a.
Except
I
for
was here.
Except for right
This
here.
was not okay. I had to have a stern talk with Trevor afterwards,
Yeah.
and he repented,
I didn't see that.
and it all worked out. I actually was the one who caught it in the video. I was looking out for the eagle.
I was the one who tagged FBI on Twitter to make sure that they were investigating.
Okay, good call.
That's good.
When this gets clipped out,
Gentlemen,
it's going to be another tag.
It's been an honor. Even if we had to say goodbye to the Eagle, shout out to the North American teams. It was a tough tournament. We're not going to see you in the next stage, but Worlds 2023, just a year away. So that's going to do it here from us.
There's always
on the
next
caster
year.
desk.
We're scaling.
The music cut right as you said for scaling. All right, that's going to do it from the Casters broadcast crew. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week for more Worlds Best of 5 quarterfinals. Absolute bangers. You better be coming back. Good night, everyone.
Goodbye.
I really want to see 100 Thieves getting involved in the spot lane early.
Good additions done. Big game between the Qualic. 9 already taking flashes before. They're just going to cut him down. First blood. They have to go in. CFO or a timer. Now Hui now walking them down. They're instantly changing the Grab. They're trying to look him down. Oh, look at the flag. Throwing the byline back into the waiting arms of the Thieves. Dragon still standing. 2K, but they take the fight. They take the soul. They send Oysters running. Absolute domination from 100 Thieves. Over the wall, Gemini just goes down. It's a disaster, and now the rest of the team looking to collapse. Trying to finish the job. Chovy playing back. Chovy going forward. Now leaping over the wall. Ruler looking for the 1v1. Backed up by the Nami. CFO just have to run. There's nothing left for them in this game. The Flying Oysters, they've been grounded. They've been shucked. There is nothing left for them on the Rift.
I see RNG flags, guys. I see someone holding Felix's head. Like 100 Thieves fan, 100 Thieves fan. If RNG fan would do that, that would be scary actually.
Look at Galio. See. Not flash. Keeping on the base. Come to me. We can win. We can win. No. See, we have 1 HP.
Got 100 Thieves standing strong. Healing massive coming in from Wave. He's locked down for now, but GALA is still alive. Ava is still alive. Abadage cut down. And that should be the fight for 100 Thieves. FBI, it's a heroic effort. But it cannot be enough. Closer buying the space. Closer trying to buy time. But this is GALA's world. And we're all just living in it.
To him. Jungle duel, let's go! A bit dangerous. He can't hold. He flashes to get himself out of the way. The heal comes through as well. Tidal Wave is avoided there by Close, but he's still not able to pick up the kill. And now Doran going to be flashing over the top. He has the... Oh! He behind FBI and smashes Sunday back into Peanut's waiting arms. The tree will die, and the perfect game dies with him. They have been laning very effectively since that happened. As you can see, the flash forward, GALA gets the answering 2v2 kill. Now looking for even more. Aqua Prison goes wide. Gemini will turn up, but there's the double. GALA way to make it 3 here as he dashes. Gets another light sling in the flash forward. Gemini can't get it, and that's the triple. And as the Banish toss is going to connect, there's the cease and desist into the backline. Allen gonna have to flash to get out of that, but it does not do enough. That's the second kill to come through, but no, denied immediately. There from Koala, but just staggers it. And now Gemini getting dashed on. GALA is so huge. You mentioned this Gale Force. He gets a stun, but it's still going to be another triple for GALA. Cannon Barrage comes through, but the protection is there. Peanut out. Will live. Can they win the rest of the fight though? The hostile takeover is fantastic. GALA, he rocket jumps, but can he live? It looks like the answer is no, as it's a double kill for Chovy. Way up towards the top side though, he does have the nature's grasp, and Lehends just explodes. Breathe, trades it, whatever, and they've done it! Gen.G just gonna take down the Nexus turrets, and we are going to a tiebreaker. Looking to keep them here, the Lehends comes forward. There it is from Doran, diving on it. He has the wild growth to get the triple knock-up, and he's been taking the turret for 16 years. Down though, and no more smite is gonna be in that pit. They dash on over, but it's just not enough, and there's the heroic entrance, this time from Chovy. It's repeated as Xiaohu tries to show him who's boss, but it's not enough. And the gold lead is just too big